It's that time again. The time for the review week of awesome. So if you've never heard about this before, mostly because you haven't been subbed to me for more than a year. For the past 2 years, this year being a third year in a row, and also a couple of times in my reviewing career prior to that, I have done what I call the review week of awesome, which is a point where I make this giant list of like 50 or so anime, have you guys vote on this giant list, and the top 5 of which I review back to back, Monday to Friday in 1 week span. This was quite a successful endeavor of mine for the past 2 years, and previously it was just random things that I just kind of did because I felt like it. But this is the third time I'm doing it annually, and hopefully it won't be the last, but we'll see. But this year is actually kind of interesting. The list is, I try to keep it very varied. How I developed the list of 50 shows, and there are 50 shows this year, pretty sure, unless I magically add anything to the list between when I've recorded this and when the video actually goes up. How I develop the list is that I take some of the things, now how I do it is I take some of the things that didn't just quite get enough votes in previous years, throw that on the list, have a look at my shelf, see what I own that I haven't reviewed yet that I'd like to review, throw that on the list. I had a talk with my patrons earlier last month and got some suggestions from them, threw it on the list, then checked to make sure that I could actually review any of these because I needed to make sure that they were licensed, or if they weren't licensed, I needed to make sure that they weren't going to randomly get licensed at any point in time, so that, yeah, I have moral boundaries and shit. Then I needed to go and calculate how many episodes they all had to make sure that if, worst case scenario, the top 5 highest episode count shows get in, I don't overwork myself, which is actually kind of tough considering 2 of the shows on the list, but we'll get to that. And then I cross-referenced parts of the list with some friends of mine to get their intake and their opinions on some of them, which is why there may be some shows, some fairly long shows on the list that I am not reviewing the entirety of, and I am only reviewing sections of, reasonable sections, to be fair, but only sections of. Noticeable absence, before anybody asks me about it, is that Gintama's not on the list this year. Though I'm only bringing this up specifically because I mentioned a couple of times over the past year, since last year's Review Week of Awesome, that there was a very good chance that Gintama was going to be on this year's list, but I ultimately decided, yeah, there's no way in hell I'm going to get through all those many episodes while also trying to watch whatever else gets voted in, while also watching and reviewing everything else. So Gintama's going to have to be something that I do slowly, on top of everything else, over time. Just a simple Google search of how long does it take to watch Gintama leads me to a bunch of different Reddit threads of people saying, yeah, it took me like 3 months or something. And I'm sitting here going, 3 months of watching nothing but Gintama. I'm sure it's worth it, but I have other things I need to watch, unfortunately. So Gintama is not on the list, but there are still 50 other anime that I think are all worthy of being in the Review Week of Awesome. But it does not matter what I think. It matters ultimately what you guys think. So these are 50 of some of my most requested things, as well as some things that I think would be interesting to talk about. And with luck, everything will be really good. So how this works at this point is that down in the description, if you haven't noticed it already, there will be a link to a survey. You can click on that and you'll see the list of 50 shows. They all have checkmark boxes. You are allowed to pick as many as you like. Just don't click all of them or don't click none of them, because then your vote doesn't really mean anything. Each vote that you, each checkbox that you give or click on when you submit this survey will give 1 vote to everything, and the top 5 shows will be the shows that get reviewed in the Review Week of Awesome later on in the year. You can vote as many times as you like. However, the survey software will only recognize the most recent submission. So if you punch in a bunch of things on first impulse, you hit go, and then you're like, crap, I really wish I also clicked on this, this, and this, you can go back and change it, but it'll only accept the most recent. Everything else gets tossed. So you can't really rig the game. I've thought of this. Like, there's probably ways you can rig the game that I haven't thought of, and I'm sure that somebody will try it, and we'll deal with that if it happens. Anyway, the survey will be live for the next 2 weeks, so 2 weeks starting whenever this video goes up, and then the survey will be closed, and at that point, I get to see what the top 5 are. You don't. I do. And then for a couple of months, I will keep it very close to my chest as I go and procure DVD copies of all of them, if possible. I watch them, script them, film them, edit them, and then everything should be ready to go hopefully by later in the year. Also, never ask me when the week's going to be. I don't know. I don't know now when it's going to be. I'm not going to know in 2 weeks, though I'll have a better idea in 2 weeks for my own mental things, but anything can go wrong over the course of the fall. Usually when I get the survey, the completed survey, and I know what shows I have to do, I basically plan my entire fall out around making sure that I can get anything done. But anything can be dislodged, as it were, by just having unexpected things happen. Me being out due to sickness and things like that for a week. If something else pops up here and there that can delay things, move things around, things can change. So I may have an idea of when I hope that the week's going to be, but until probably a week or so before the actual week itself, you guys won't know, and I apologize for that. But then, a week or so before the actual week, there will be a video announcement of some description that not only states what actual week the review week of Awesome will be, but also what 5 shows will be on the docket. And then you can all enjoy those 5 reviews as they go back to back to back to back to back to back. And that should be fun. Last year, there were actually 6 reviews because I was a stupid crazy person. Hunter x Hunter was on the top 5 list originally, but I didn't think I was going to be able to finish it in time, so I replaced it with the number 6, which I think might have been Snafu. It was something. Anyway, I replaced it, and then it turns out that no, I could actually finish it in time, so I just made it a 6th video. You're welcome. Don't count on that this year. That was just me being extremely nice, and I just happened to be lucky and everything worked out well. If there's no 6 videos this year, don't say, why is there no 6 videos this year? There were 6 videos last year. That was an anomaly. That was an anomaly, okay? So I'm really looking forward to this. No, like seriously, I've been slowly building this list of 50 stuff for a while now, and I'm very hopeful on some of the things that are on the list, but I ultimately would like to review all of it. It's just a matter of time. I can only review so much so quickly. So, when you're done watching this video, if you haven't already, go and check out that survey. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. This isn't some sort of weird new sign language. In fact, it's probably just gibberish in sign language. I will be putting up a reminder in 2 weeks, or slightly before 2 weeks, for the survey to be done, just in case people are checking in on it and making sure of all that wonderful jazz, to make sure I remind everybody. And of course, new reviews will be coming out as per usual. I have a review that hopefully, barring no problems, should be up this weekend, another review next weekend, and then with luck, there'll be a new review almost weekly-ish basis from here on out until the actual week itself. And again, that all depends on a variety of things, because I'm going to a bunch of conventions between now and then, so that'll be fun. But yeah, so go check that out, and if you have any questions, post down in the comments, and hopefully I'll see it in the next day or so, or post me a tweet. I'll be sure to answer that. If you're on my Patreon, send me a message that way. That works too. And yeah, I'll see you guys when the review comes out later this weekend, and the stuff. 2 weeks. Enjoy. Until then, stay frosty, everybody. Bye-bye.